Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. This day is about passion and love and joy and happiness, and I just had to share out that this week we had all of those things inside a lesson, and what was the key factor to bringing sort of that joy, that passion, that love was bringing the students an experience. Experiential learning, it's where it's at. Let's dive in. In this lesson, we had some traditional elements and we had this experiential element. So the traditional elements, I give a big talk about the Battle of Salamis. This is this huge naval battle in Greek history, and it's one of those like epic sort of turning points where the underdog sort of triumphantly wins, and we kind of go through that battle. And then at the end, I sort of surprise them and say, we're going to do this simulation. Now, this is something that history teachers try to build in, is these simulations, but sometimes they can become unruly and super big and, kind of like, oof, I can't give up that amount of class time. But this is where we get it all wrong. Experiential learning doesn't have to be super big, right? Think of experiential learning as like the scratch and sniff sticker, right? You don't get the full course meal. You don't get this huge thing. We don't have to prepare this full course meal. Scratch and sniff Snickers, you just that's it. It's that quick. Experiential learning can be just as easy as a scratch and sniff. No course, 3-course meal to make, but you can just get this little experience. So in this one, for this simulation, I had all my students point their chairs away from the screen. So they're all facing that way. And then I had one student face this way. And then I used my overhead sort of document cam. And on the document cam, I had these two little ships representing, one being the Persians, one being the Greeks. Gave every one of my students one of these pieces of wood. And this was going to be their oar. They had to row with it. Now, as a team, they had to discuss how they were going to row in unison, act in unison. And as the captain, were barking orders at the students that were below deck on the ships who couldn't see what was happening. All the students that couldn't see the screen, who were rowing, they can't see what's happening on the screen. And only the captains can. So the captains are barking orders, telling them to like stop on the right side and row on the left side, to turn that boat as quick as they can. And then at that epic moment where they slam into each other, the boats, they had to like reverse course to pull out and sink that ship. The captains are screaming, it's nuts, it's pandemonium, and it's just fun. But we then, after like each sort of battle, which takes all of like 3 minutes, I sort of insert some of that content and remind them back the content that we just learned about imagining being below deck and hearing these ships collide and crash into each other, and men falling into the sea and drowning and screaming, and it's just crazy. And it just piques their interest. It's just that like scratch and sniff moment, right? They get it. It's full flavor. They can feel it. And as we then roll into the next class, then those kids already have heard about this, and that on this channel I'm big about sort of building that anticipation, that excitement. And so as these kids go out, I already have students that are like, Mr. Matera, I am ready for today. I can't wait for today.
Mr. Matera, I've already heard how intense this next activity is.
The word spreads fast for this 3-minute activity on top of a very large lecture on the Battle of Salamis, right? So we just add these little elements that sort of pop and connect to the lesson. So when you're that English teacher, that science teacher, that social studies teacher, that math teacher, is there a way we can add this to our classes, that little moment, that little pop that's just going to make that difference? I think we can. So one of my favorite things on this lesson was a comment by one of my students. We had a visitor come. So when a visitor comes, they shadow another student. So they're with this other student kind of throughout the day. And the student comes in, they introduce the student, and like normal, they're a little shy, they're a little nervous to be in here. I do the lecture, she's nodding her head, she's kind of excited. Then boom, we bust out this simulation, this activity, and she even volunteers to be the captain of the ship. So, boom, she's the captain of the ship. She does this. She epically leads her ship to the right spot, and boom, she's a perfect captain. She sinks the other ship. And okay, the lesson's over, class dismissed, and my student says to the guests, that's how we do history here. Boom! I loved it. That's so awesome to sort of overhear and hear how the student just really loved the class and loved the activity. So I just think it's really important that we recognize that we're teaching kids, and I don't care if you're teaching that first grader or that 12th grader, adding these elements, these experiential moments in your lesson. Even if they're small, they don't have to be that huge 3-course meal, which, believe me, history teachers love to add, but also it's tough. It takes time. These don't always have to take time. Think of these little ways you can get people to experience what it's like to be a solid liquid or gas, right? Get all the students compacted in a little spot, right? And then be the gas and spread out, right? Just that 2-second moment will add a little element to that lesson that's just going to forever change. So as always, thank you so much for being part of this community and being passionate and joyful in your classrooms. I can't wait to connect with many more of you. Some of you have wrote in that you're coming to ISTE, and I'm excited to see you. I hope you guys are able to connect with me there. I really want to meet and engage with you guys. I'm also excited to announce that I am going to be presenting at the NETA, Nebraska Educational Tech Conference. So if you happen to be in the Nebraska area in April, check it out, sign up. I would love to connect with you guys there. All right, that's it. Add some experiential learning to your class, to your lesson, to your activity. It's worth it. It's worth the time. Think of just something little you can add. One other thing, I want to put a link down below to a game called Love Letter. I did a review of it. It's a micro game. It's really cheap. You can get it on Amazon. Fits perfectly for today, that being Valentine's Day. So check that out. Check that video out. Order it up. My daughter loves it. My parents love it. Everybody seems to love it. It's a great game. Super easy to use. Super compact. Take it anywhere. As always, if you could, smash that subscribe button so that you can be part of this community. And if you want to ding, 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 hit that bell so that you get notifications of when I put out new videos and content so you can be part of it. It has been a pleasure watching this channel grow, and you're a big part of that growth. So keep coming back. Take care. Till next time.